4K.com. And this is Imaara, the musical or revolutionary. Yes, and we're there. And we have a nice program lineup. We have a talk about Windrush, we have a talk about reparation, right? The 10-point plan of CARICOM reparation committee that they laid down. So we have a go through it and have a look on some of the things that we are the builders of the pyramids. We are the builders of the stone cities of Zimbabwe. We build them White House. We build them factories. The blood, the sweat, the tears, the flesh, the bones. Them Jews build them economy. Now they want to come you and me with them science and technology. We make them take with knowledge. No, they don't hear me. They are blind. We are warm, we are right, we are trying, we are flying. Nonsense. Eyes focus on the screen of an iPhone, Galaxy, tablet, Blackberry. Wake up, lady. One of my sisters that are buried. Ancestors cry out. They were weak, see when they get back to slavery. Robotic, digital, technological slavery. The rich taking session, called recession, left the world in depression. Legal and illegal drugs and alcohol on the rise, in dear interest. To our demise, we patronize, all become marginalized. With fools seem wise, because we are fighting lies and sell with lies. Prostitution, some doctors and wives. Marcus the right, Sanctioned the right. Walking the rise, touching the rise, women finger the rise, and the top on the rise. Rosa Parks rise, Malcolm rise, Patrick Douglas rise, ancestors rise. Billy Thomas said, Imaara rise, organize, mobilize, visualize. Stop looking through them eyes and through your own eyes. Give them back the gadgets. Free yourself from debt. The robotic digital technology of we are living on credit. While Lana would back again, they take it, sell it. Guard your mind. Guard your children's mind. For we are a public government. Ready to send it. Up to me and you. Come. Let me be. Struggle goes on. Struggle goes on and on and on. Struggle goes on. Struggle goes on. The struggle goes on. Yes, the struggle goes on. The struggle goes on for our fundamental liberation, And that's what we are saying, in this world of tech knowledge. Because what I observe that a lot of people don't realize that they are giving up their knowledge, or they are allowing someone to take their knowledge, the knowledge of life. The knowledge for you to become a fully human being. You should not allow anyone to keep you in subjection, that you become subhuman. So, we give thanks for this moment. It is the Community Buzz and Fit FM 96.7 Your Life, Your Music. And we are on the World Wide Web, www.fitfmja.com. We are also simulcasting on primal4k.com, and that's www.primal4k.com. And this is Imaara, the musical or revolutionary. Yes, and we're there. And we have a nice program lineup. We have a talk about Windrush, we have a talk about reparation, right? The 10-point plan of CARICOM reparation committee that they laid down. So we have a go through it and have a look on some of the things that can work, and some that maybe need to upgrade. We'll talk to our dear sister over there in England, HORLENE HANLAN, right? Hanlan, right? Yes, I don't want to. Sorry for mispronouncing him, my dear sister. But it is what it is. It's kind of cool outside, a little drizzling and going on, where with them say the first day of autumn was 2 days ago or yesterday. Yes. Right? So we are moving into that. Jamaica, we don't know about no autumn thing. We don't want to go winter and them something there. I mean, it's just what they say is what kind of tropical. We are tropical all year long. Sometimes over tropical. See, my brother, my sister, my family, my Jamaica. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Some clarity and some knowledge of who REPARATION is. So you're going to tell us about your journey. Yeah. All right. All right. Okay, well, all right. I'm a British. You ready for? You can hear me? All right. All right. I'm a British-born Jamaican of the Windrush generation. I'm a Windrush child. My parents were Jamaicans who came to England with a dream, and their story is not often told, so I will tell it. There were many Jamaicans who came on the Windrush, legacy, came to England and were employed in areas where they were more qualified for, but because of their color, they had to take the menial job. So my parents took them, did what they had to do, but went to evening classes and studied, right? You have a whole host of Jamaicans who came over in the Windrush story, who studied and went back. So I am one of those children who was taken back. So while I was in England, the education was non-existent. They used to push us children to the back of the classroom. All my reports said, bad child, talks too much, can't learn, dunce child. Those were my reports. My mother still had them to the day she died. And then, of course, they took me to Jamaica. They put me in a school, in Mavisville Prep School. And Mavisville said, oh, we have to put this child in nursery, And then when they put me in the nursery, they realized, wait, hold on, this child is bright. And boom, I started going through the system fast, enough to get to Camperdown High. So I went to Camperdown High, where the teachers were so complimentary and really motivated. So this dunce child who couldn't read, couldn't write when I came to Jamaica, started to excel in the arts. And, English was my thing, English and history. And, from there I went on to become, I was sent away from Jamaica in 1980 when we had our political problems there, as we all know. And, I studied and became a lecturer of English. And whilst teaching in England, I started to notice that all the black children didn't really have a good understanding of their heritage, especially the Jamaican children. They only knew about Bob Marley, or they knew all the, the worst things about Jamaica. So a lot of the boys were excluded. And when they were excluded and they came back to school, the headmaster used to put the children at my desk. And then I started teaching them about the Maroons. So you have reasons to be proud, man. Jamaica, you come from a strong background, And I started teaching them. And that's how I started writing. And so I wrote a couple of historiographies. And recently I finished a book of poetry. So that's me in a nutshell. So, we're talking about Windrush. What is Windrush? Oh. Well, as you know, yeah. All right. Oh, okay. I don't know all the details, but I do know that I think it was the late 40s, a particular ship called the Windrush brought the first Jamaicans. I think it was about 500 Jamaicans and other islanders, because they the colonialists came to Jamaica, and this is the thing, you know, the colonialists, because of World War II and them country mash up, right? The England mash up, especially London and Birmingham, nothing now going at all. So they needed to rebuild their country. So who them turn to? You know, who them turn to? They turn to us. So they come down there and recruit our people and told our people, oh, they're going to have, you know, a great life, whatever, and told them to come to England. When they come to England, they treated them as, you know, terribly. My mother used to tell me, yeah. Exactly. You know, we were directly exactly. So we were British. Of course. I'm proud. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that aspect of the previous one, so that you want clarity? Clarity on what? That aspect pertaining to oh, Jamaica being a country. Yeah. Of course. So they're expected to be treated equally. They expected equal opportunities, and they were treated like dogs, worse than dogs, right? Hello? Yeah, right. But one of the things, remember that you go the first generation. Yeah. Right. It was just like what we call apprenticeship, you know. Yeah. After emancipation. Yeah. And I like how people were still after the colonial masters or the enslavers. Yeah. But what they got paid for their properties. Of course. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I have basic knowledge, you know, but I wouldn't want to talk about it when there are experts that could talk in more depth. But obviously there was an issue with especially the children brought over with parents on the British passport at the time, because you remember, as you said, it was a colony, and they came over on these passports which said they were British, and so many a person did not go and further themselves in terms of a British citizenship, only to find that the Conservative government came into play and they'd lost all their rights. People who had been here for 60 years, who had paid into the system for 60 years, you know, they were suddenly told they couldn't work here anymore. They were locked up in detention centres, sent home, and that kind of thing. And people are fighting now for compensation. And as usual, our people are being ill-treated, and, it's a problem. But the experts can give you more detail. That's the basic summary, and I would pass that on to of course. After working here for over 6 years and paying taxes. Yeah. Yeah, they were citizens, under the British colonial government, right? And worked all their lives. All their lives. To really England and contribute. By our children who come up and contribute to the development of the system of their. Of course. Such people rather than many more generation. Yeah. People, God has said for a while ago, that contribute to the development of the British economy. Yeah. How is it now? How is it with other people? People born here. Yeah. In your generation. Yeah. How is it? What do you mean? What's the experience? Yeah, what's your experience? All right. Well, for me personally, because I came from a family who were, pro-Jamaica, teaching Jamaican ways. I remember saying growing in Jamaica, so I have a bit of a different experience. I have the Jamaican mentality. So for me personally, I came here. Me now look left, now right. I mean, just go for what I want to go for. However, you remember I said to you, when I was teaching, I noticed that children were failing the education system. And if you notice, years back, we when we were in Jamaica, we were fascinated by the kind of Christmas messages we used to get, because we noticed that the education was a bit different to ours. The English education was not up to scratch for our generation, right? So I talk about our age group. People my age group didn't get a good education. So most of them took themselves to evening classes and kind of learned skills to get into the system. But the racism is still here. We're still thought of as underlings. The stereotyping continues in the press, and there is an issue, I think, with people from other countries taking on the worst of our Jamaican behaviors, and that stereotype is being perpetuated. And so we as Jamaicans are being targeted by all authorities. So whether it's social services, police forces, our young Jamaican youngsters here are targeted, just like America. The only thing that's different with England is we have a much freer life than, say, an African person born and raised in America. We're not going to get shot, daily like happens in America. So what I would say is the racism in England is covert, as opposed to the American racism that's overt. Which is more covert. Because if you assess a lot of our people who come over to Jamaica from England, they're very comfortable with a lot of the basic things they learn in England. Because England gives a false impression that we're equal, and we're not. And so people can get too comfortable here. Okay. Yeah. I mm-hmm. Was not no. We are going to go. Yeah, we are going to go ahead and keep all right. Appreciating the reparation that yeah. It's because we see where it is necessary for the amount of contribution that men and continue to make, right? Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Right. Okay, so let me give you. Yeah, I'll go back to my own experience before coming to Jamaica, and then I'll talk about being a teacher in England. So when I'm naming the school. When I was in England, my mother was at Hackney Hospital training to be a midwife. So I used to have to go to a school called Rushmore Infants and then Rushmore Junior. When at Rushmore Junior School, and a lot of people don't know this, and I notice my generation hasn't really spoken about it much. So it looks like we go through these bad experiences and we get on with things. And maybe we need to talk about them. So the children at Rushmore Junior School in this. I notice my generation hasn't really spoken about it much. So it looks like we go through these bad experiences and we get on with things. And maybe we need to talk about them. So the children at Rushmore Junior School in the 60s, Rushmore Junior School is in Hackney. Hackney is where Jamaicans will hear them talk about the Cockney people. So it's the East London and very, very English. So when we used to leave, when we went to school, we had to walk in gangs. We couldn't go as one black child to school, or we'd be attacked by children and parents, right? So it was traumatic, but I think there's something in humanity. You overcome adversity as a group. When we used to be in school, the teachers would have all the white children at the front of the class and all the black children at the back of the class. So school, yes, and I can give you names of people. And this is the experience. Yeah, I'm not even got there yet. And then at the back of the class, because we didn't know what's right or what's wrong. You're children, so you're talking about. I finally came back to live in Jamaica when I was 8.5. So you're talking between 6 and 8. So you don't know this is wrong. So we used to play and play and play, and we used to just play and play and play while the white children at the front were given the work or whatever. And often we would be put under a clock in detention. So that was my experience. And then I was taken to this prep school where you had to sit upright, we had to take placemats and knife and fork tomatoes fill, and you had to learn.